The current day conundrum that we face is the best tasting foods are the ones that are slowly killing us. But what if we could change that? Yo, 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 what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health, How to Eat edition. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic manner. Today, we are diving into the inner workings of our cravings, how it compares to hunger, why we taste the way we taste, not like we taste, but how we perceive. It makes sense. You get it. And finally, how you can potentially rework your taste and ultimately begin to crave health. I know. It seems like information overload, but a mouth-watering one. So let's get going. First off, your cravings. Hunger and cravings may not have the connection that one would expect. And research has shown that they actually stimulate different parts of the brain. See, when our body needs nourishment, there is a shift in our hormone balance. Specifically, a hormone called ghrelin gets upregulated. This signals the brain, or the hypothalamus, that it's time to eat. Cravings, however, are the psychological juggernaut that stimulate the reward center of our brain, releasing that ever so addictive, feel-good neurotransmitter, dopamine. Hunger is mainly physiological, but when you're hungry, cravings tend to have a say in what you choose for nourishment. So there's a little crossover going on here, whether we like it or not. So let me pause real quick and take a second to explain why we have this reward circuitry set up. And you guessed it, it's part of our evolution for a reason. Our reward circuitry exists to make us feel good when we participate in activities that are important for survival, such as eating, drinking, mating.
That is correct.
And up until the last 200 years or so, high-fat, high-sugar foods really were non-existent. Instant availability of these naturally rare foods creates a physiological and psychological positive feedback loop, rewarding us with dopamine when we indulge. Our body, the organism, the survival machine, is interpreting eating processed junk food as, hey, here we have a food that is high in two key macronutrients, sugar and fat, or carbohydrates and fat. Those two are hard to come by together. So that's good for survival if we get them in one little packaged treat. Thus, the hedonic pathway, or that neural circuitry, releases dopamine to reinforce the action. Good, thousands of years ago. Bad, today. And when we're on the topic of cravings, to throw a little twist in here, our microbiome, which is the trillion of microorganisms that live inside us and on us, also rely on the food that we consume as nourishment. So research has shown that they can actually influence our cravings as well. I know. And studies have even suggested that around 50% of the dopamine that gets released in our body comes from that intestinal area. So you're really following your brain and your stomach. Pretty crazy stuff. And what would cravings be without emotion? Because if you've ever watched any romantic comedy, you know that food and feelings go hand in hand. And this brings us full circle to this present day, happy, sad, bored, depressed. Did I miss anything? Eating. During an emotional event, which humans are pretty darn good at, we crave whatever will give us that dopamine feel-good fix. It could be exercise, it could be meditation, it could be drugs. But most of the time, it's food. We reach for those high-fat, high-sugar treats, sealed in that little plastic wrapper, and let that reward center stimulation begin. Oh, and it is just lovely, too, for the 15 seconds that it actually lasts. Which sets us up for the discussion and the real topic of this video. What if we could crave health? Now, it may be a little surprising, but your real best friends here are your taste buds. Think about it. They have the ability to bring instant joy 1 minute and save your life the next. I mean, your crew from college was cool, but not that cool. And here's what I mean. Today we have the luxury of food on demand. Its nutritional stats, as well as recipes out the wazoo. But circa 100,000 years ago, or even 10,000 years ago, our senses, taste, touch, sight, smell, sound, were our survival mechanisms. And when prospective food passed the initial review, it looks good, it smells good, I hear it, it's not making noises or loud noises, we would put it to the final test in our mouths. And here are the 5 qualities of taste that would help you with that final decision. Sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and savory. I feel like savory just needs this when you say savory. A bitter, sour taste was an indication of a poisonous, inedible plant or rotting, protein-rich foods. On the other hand, the taste of sweet and salty were often a sign of foods rich in nutrients. So bringing it back to modern day, the information age, we've done all that heavy lifting around identifying poisonous and nutritious foods. But we've also created some problems of our own in search of that dopamine fix. You can dig into all those in all the videos linked below. We get granular. So when it comes to taste and taste buds, the average adult has between 2,000 and 4,000 taste buds, half of which have the ability to process all of the 5 qualities of taste, what we just went through. Sweet, sour, salty, bitter, savory. While the other half is really limited to an individual quality. Just some nice info tidbits right there. This interpretation of food, once it hits our tongues, provides the final pieces of information to complete our tasting experience. As a result, we either devour what's left or spit it out with conviction, little attitude. The current day conundrum that we face is the best tasting foods are the ones that are slowly killing us. But what if we could change that? I'll be the first to raise my hand. I used to cave in all the time, waiting online at whatever supermarket, food store, bodega, whatever, staring down all those mouth-watering treats that would just seem to be calling your name. And even on those days that willpower would prevail, I'd have those peanut butter pretzels in the office pantry singing my name at 3 p.m. This constant internal debate, a just pure waste of internal brain CPUs, continues day in and day out until one of 2 things happens. First, you decide to alter your lifestyle, beginning to treat your body as the prized asset that it really is. Or, second, health issues arise and you are forced to make a decision between same old ways and change for the better. Hopefully, this video right here will help you choose the first. Research into the topic actually shows that we in fact can alter our taste, how we register and prioritize different types of nourishment. You may even begin to crave, dare I say it, health. Entertain these 2 studies. A controlled study in adults looked into the effects of a sodium-restricted diet on its participants. After a few weeks, participants in the low-sodium group actually preferred meals with less salt, claiming that it tasted better compared to the controlled group, which had no intervention, who still liked those salty foods and preferred them. And then we go to this TUFFS University study, where researchers tested the brain reward system for 13 overweight and obese men and women. 8 of them followed a program that emphasized behavioral change education with high fiber, low glycemic menu plans, while the remaining 5 served as the control group. After 6 months, brain scans from the participants in the weight loss program showed an increased sensitivity to images of healthy, low-calorie foods, indicating an increase in reward and enjoyment of healthier food cues. as well as a decreased sensitivity to unhealthy, high-calorie processed foods. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You mean to tell me by switching over to a healthy diet comprised of real whole foods and ditching the highly processed, chemical-derived ways of Western society, we can alter our taste and cravings? The only sacrifice being a few weeks of the sugar sweats for a life of improved health? Bringing truth to the theory that the healthier you eat, the more you'll crave health. I used to pick up a big, supersized Butterfingers about every other day on my walk home from work. I'd spend the better part of the walk reiterating to myself that I was not going to stop in the 7-Eleven on the corner, go in and pick up the supersized, chocolatey, peanut buttery, supersized Butterfingers. And as I strolled out of those orange and green striped doors with 2 Butterfingers in my hands, I'd say, okay, but not tomorrow. It did take a month or 2 of uncomfort, along with a newfound love of homemade smoothies, but the cravings disappeared. Make the change. Trust the process. No one ever regrets getting healthy. Smoothie time. Catch you next week.